Hulk Hogan and Sting are still feuding. For some reason, they used Sting's promo from last pay-per-view for his parts.
It's showtime, folks.
Oh my God.
Like
that's his catchphrase.
That's his thing, yeah.
Says they've been fighting people like the First Family and Filthy Animals on the streets their whole lives. So this won't be... I can't imagine what streets have Brian Knobbs and Hugh Morris just roaming around.
I didn't even hear the Filthy Animals because he said we've been fighting suckers on the street like the First Family. I got lost. I was like, what streets were you on? You have people who look like that.
They're trying to tell a story about how Sid was like an unstoppable monster, but all I saw was Sid just getting his ass beat.
Like, he's an unstoppable monster. Well, you didn't stop you from getting mounted and pounded.
And is that all you got? You better be glad he didn't have more because you'd be dead right now.
Yeah, you weren't stopping him at all. Like, he was defenseless.
So are we to believe that Flair just banged Kimberly?
I don't know about bang, but I guess he spanked her.
Sting comes out to the ring and he says he didn't come to Vegas for a night off.
Sorry, I was just thinking about it. I guess we are supposed to believe that he banged her to put on this charade her and Paige are trying to pull off. Because she didn't get the pills out. Now she just had to get
Moving on, we have our Wrestling Rewind. And this week is WCW's Halloween Havoc 1999. Starts off with a hype video. Goldberg is seriously wanting to kick Psycho Sid's ass and take the U.S. title from him. So I guess there's a match scheduled. But Goldberg can't lay a finger on Sid or he loses his title opportunity. Goldberg doesn't give a shit and spears Sid anyway. So Psycho Sid then rips up something. He says it was like Goldberg's final destination or some shit and stuffed it in his mouth. But before that, he powerbombed Goldberg and says, "See you at Halloween Havoc." Then ripped up the contract and I don't know. Hulk Hogan and Sting are still feuding. For some reason, they used Sting's promo from last pay-per-view for his parts. Like, it wasn't a good promo, so I don't know why the fuck you would recycle that horse shit. I'm back in black. Shut up.
It's showtime, folks.
Oh my God.
Like
that's his catchphrase.
That's his thing, yeah.
So we're live in Las Vegas. Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan are on commentary. The commentary booth is, I don't know if it's just me noticing it or if it's been like this for a minute, but set up just like the old Raw, just ringside. Schiavone says, breaking news. Rey Mysterio's leg is busted. Therefore, he's unable to compete tonight. As a result, WCW's powers that be have stripped the Filthy Animals, Konnan and Rey Mysterio, of the tag titles. So a 6-man street fight will now be held to determine the new tag champions. So it's Harlem Heat, the First Family, which is Brian Knobbs and Hugh Morris, and the Filthy fucking Animals. Only it's Konnan and Billy Kidman. So to recap, the Filthy Animals were supposed to be wrestling the First Family, but Rey got hurt. So now, because of Rey's injury, Harlem Heat is now added to the match, and Konnan will be wrestling with Billy Kidman, instead of just letting, Konnan pick a new partner and defend the titles anyway.
They stripped him of the titles. Now, I didn't realize it at the time, but he's in this little faction with Kidman and Eddie Guerrero's the other one.
Yeah.
So they could have did the Freebird role and just have him pick one of his running mates as the fill-in for Rey Mysterio.
Which I don't understand why they didn't.
Yeah.
So Heenan says someone's going to the hospital. Schiavone then goes over the rest of the card. And Heenan's just excited about Psycho Sid versus Goldberg. He says there's going to be an earthquake tonight. But first we have Disco Inferno versus Lash LaRue for the WCW Cruiserweight title. Disco came out like a rhinestone cowboy, but when the bell rang, he kicked some ass. LaRue just looked like a generic white dude, but he came out to fight too. I appreciated the intensity of the match. LaRue tried a Frankensteiner from the top rope and basically used Disco to powerbomb himself. So that was nice. And then Disco goes for a stunner. That's blocked. Then he hits a pile driver. Somehow LaRue kicked out of that. Then LaRue hits his move. I took Schiavone's word for it because I don't know what it is. But Disco kicked out of that.
It was the Blue Thunder Bomb is what he hit.
Was that before
they called it something different. So after the match, he did a different move. But the one he hit that Schiavone said was his move was the Blue Thunder.
The Blue Thunder? Okay. And then Disco hits an atomic drop and then a stunner and actually won the match. And yeah, LaRue threw a fit after the match, slammed Disco on his title. I think it was a Michinoku driver.
Yeah, that. On the title.
Yeah. And even though I couldn't care less about Disco or LaRue, I thought this was a really good opener. And Disco's dancing didn't cost him the match for once. He didn't even stop to dance. Well, he did during a Bret Hart elbow drop, but that was it. So good for him.
Yeah. I was confused with this opening match. Like, is this LaRue guy? Like, how did he make it to pay per view? I think overall, just with this show, it felt like it was booked like a Nitro.
Okay.
I don't know. It just felt like it was booked as a TV show, not a pay per view. And this is one piece of evidence here of that. But yes, it did turn out to be overall a okay match.
Yeah, LaRue did kind of a trailer park quality about him. I didn't get Cajun at all.
Yeah.
Well, then we have the Revolution. I hope you're sitting down. So there's trouble brewing within the Revolution. Specifically, Benoit and Malenko are questioning Shane Douglas's actions. So they cut to a video that was filmed before the pay-per-view. Benoit and Malenko are arriving to the building. Apparently, they've been in Japan for some reason. Saturn greets the two and is irritated that neither one of them has called him or Shane because this is a big night for the Revolution. Malenko and Benoit tell Saturn to shove the Revolution up his ass and to tell Shane the same. It's also worth noting that Perry Saturn looked ridiculous. He looked more ridiculous in this pay-per-view than he did when he was wearing dresses.
And that's saying something.
Mike Tenay interviews Harlem Heat. He says Harlem Heat lost the tag titles this past Monday and has a chance to regain them tonight. However, they first must get past the Filthy Animals and the First Family. Booker says they've been fighting people like the First Family and Filthy Animals on the streets their whole lives. So this won't be, I can't imagine what streets have Brian Knobbs and Hugh Morris just roaming around.
I actually was thinking that I didn't even hear the Filthy Animals because when he said we've been fighting suckers on the street like the First Family, I got lost. I was like, what streets were you on? Do you have people who look like that you're fighting?
Like I can kind of see Brian Knobbs being like a biker.
Yeah.
But
were you fighting people like Hugh Morris? I don't know. I don't see you both being on the same kind of streets.
Yeah. You guys need to go out of your way to be on that
street.
Stevie Ray says both teams are in the wrong place at the wrong time. This is Harlem Heat's night. And Harlem Heat also plan on teaching the Filthy Animals a lesson for stealing their tag titles in the first place. And Booker made it the whole interview without calling anyone the N-word. And Stevie Ray did, however, call the First Family fat fruit booties. And the Filthy Animals were filthy, rotten, egg-sucking animals.
There you go.
So that leads us to the First Family versus Harlem Heat versus the Filthy Animals in a street fight. And this is for the World Tag Team titles. Brian Knobbs and Hugh Morris came out with a dumpster full of weapons. They're also wearing Halloween masks. And yeah, the match starts. It's a big brawl like you would expect. Knobbs ends up cracking Morris in the head with a trash can intended for Booker T. Booker T gets pissed at Jimmy Hart, chases him up the entrance ramp. Knobbs follows, and they start fighting. Stevie Ray eventually catches up with Knobbs and Booker. And then Knobbs gets thrown into a casket, and then a tombstone gets broken over his face. Meanwhile, back in the ring, Hugh Morris gorilla press slams Kidman straight onto a chair. And Harlem Heat and Brian Knobbs end up fighting all the way in the back. Booker T super kicks Stevie Ray by accident and then starts beating the shit out of both of them with a trash can. Then Knobbs hits Booker with a water bottle, and Shivani started laughing at him about it. Totally just like ruining it. Like, what else? Are you going to add a pillow next? Meanwhile, back in the ring, Morris hits Conan with a no laughing matter through a table. And then back to the back, Stevie Ray hits a mummy with a world's strongest slam right onto Brian Knobbs and gets the pin. And I guess the match is over. Like, it just kind of stopped. Well, Harlem Heat stopped, and they just kind of mosey on back to the ring with the ref, and the ref is holding his arm up. But then somehow, after hitting Conan with his finishing move through a fucking table, Morris gets pinned by the Filthy Animals. So there's confusion because no one knows who actually won. Well, Harlem Heat's ref did because he's the only one with his arm up. Harlem Heat get in the ring. Kidman has one belt, and then the Harlem Heat end up getting the other one, and then Booker just takes it from Kidman. So they're the champions.
Just straight snatches it from him.
Yeah. It's so unnecessarily complicated. And then Rey Mysterio came out looking ridiculous. I guess Tori Wilson's with him now. And then
I thought she was with Kidman.
She was with David Flair.
She was. By the way, nice jeans she had on there. Straight from the 90s, Tommy Hilfiger. I remember that was the expensive one, Tommy Hilfiger.
So at least Harlem Heat were color coordinated for the first time since reuniting. All I really have to say about this.
I, I don't know what I thought about it. Yes, so the fall ended in the back, but I guess there was no TVs or anything because the crowd had zero reaction to it.
There's no reaction. Like I said, it just stopped. It was very awkward.
Yeah, they walk back out, and then the other pen happens while they're walking out, and yeah, I don't think the crowd knew what was going on. So that's just what makes me think they didn't have it on the Tron or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I could see what they were going for, but the execution wasn't good.
Well, then we cut to the arena parking lot. Rick and David Flair have now arrived, and Flair is carrying a crowbar. And I guess we're going to find out what that's about later. Then Diamond Dallas Page comes out. Page is back with Kimberly, and thankfully he seems to have ditched Bam Bam and Canyon, especially Canyon.
No more Jersey Triad, and we didn't even get the payoff on pay per view.
I'd love to know the conversation that Kimberly and Page had, because, you know, she was with the booty daddy or whatever the fuck he was. The booty man.
Yeah.
Kimberly gets mic time, of course. 14 times. 14 times. That's not the number of stupid championships you won. That's how many times Ric Flair spanked my ass. Worth noting that Kimberly's nipples could cut glass.
Yeah, they're as hard as could be. I think they were getting harder during the promo, too. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to what she was saying. So
yeah.
That whole segment was awkward.
Yes. Kimberly says that's okay because DDP smacks her ass all the time when they fuck. DDP says he loves his wife. He hates Flair. But after tonight, he'll never forget DDP. And he mocks David Flair specifically. Kimberly invited David Flair to her hotel room, and he asked Ric Flair to go in his place. So he made fun of him for that. Crowd then starts telling Page that he sucks. Page says he can't possibly suck because he's not from Las Vegas. And then Page goes back to Flair spanking Kimberly 14 times. Says, you like to spank it, don't you, Nature Boy? And he says, I got your spank right here. And he starts to take off a belt that's not looped through his pants. He goes, you want to spank it, Nature Boy? Let's whack it. Let's jack it all night long. Strap match. And then he says Flair better whack DDP all night long because DDP is going to be whacking Flair all night long.
Yeah. Awkward. And especially awkward, you know, Kimberly's like 14 times. That's how many times you spanked me. But when DDP does it, and I'm talking about intimately,
yeah,
I enjoy it. Like, get this segment over, please.
Intimately speaking.
Yeah. And I was confused. I was like, did we not already know it was a strap match? Like, they didn't say that at the beginning?
I don't think so.
I mean, I thought I knew it was a strap match.
I may have said it.
I was like, I think I already knew that, didn't I? Like, I thought they did it in the rundown, but yeah, I could have just been confused where I heard it.
Well, Goldberg arrives to the arena, and he goes looking for Psycho Sid. Dropped his bag and everything. I'm sure nothing will come of that. Then Eddie Guerrero had an interview. Kidman and Tori Wilson were there. The Filthy Animals won't be ringside for Eddie's match. Tenay calls Eddie a thief because he stole Ric Flair's Rolex. And, Eddie's wrestling Saturn.
Yep.
Which brings us to Perry Saturn versus Eddie Guerrero. Eddie came out wearing Ric Flair's watch, and he gave it to Heenan to hold. Saturn ended up doing a lot of submissions, had a cool spot on the floor where he picked Eddie up and just dropped him on the steps. Then Eddie tried and failed to frog splash. Pretty ho-hum after that. Eventually, Flair came out, and he beats the shit out of Eddie with a crowbar he was carrying. Kidman and Tori come out. Kidman gets his ass kicked, and then Flair just forces himself onto Tori before and after dancing. And Tori then shows that she liked it when her choices are taken away from her. And then Flair leaves after a while, but then comes back. He's just like, oh shit, I forgot my watch.
Yes, there's that.
I felt like that should have been better, but it wasn't.
I'll be honest, I didn't really watch this one.
Yeah.
Just because I was pressed for time and I had to get the notes done for the show tonight. So this was just the match because I watched it on my laptop, as we've discussed. So I had to have it in another tab so I could only hear this match. If I'm being honest.
No, you didn't miss anything. It seems like they were working to get to the stuff at the end.
There you go.
Well, then we learned something's happening backstage. Goldberg's beating the shit out of Psycho Sid. Sid is a bloody mess and keeps screaming at Goldberg, "Is that all you got?" Something about Sid being pummeled and bleeding and then standing up like, he wasn't just getting his ass kicked. I don't know. Something didn't look right to me. They were trying to tell a story about this, about how Sid was like an unstoppable monster, but all I saw was Sid just getting his ass beat and being bloody.
Like, he's an unstoppable monster. Well, you didn't stop you from getting mounted and pounded.
Yeah.
Where was your monster at that point? Why didn't you prevent that from happening if you're such a monster?
And is that all you got? You better be glad he didn't have more because you'd be dead right now.
Yeah, you weren't stopping him at all. Like, he was defenseless. And he's like, "Is that all you got?"
It seemed like one of those people that were trying to save face after losing a fight.
Like Conor McGregor breaking his leg and still talking shit.
Yeah. Like, okay. Well, then Buff Bagwell comes out to the ring. He says he has a problem with WCW's 2 new writers. And he also has a problem with Jeff Jarrett assaulting him with a guitar. And Buff wants Jarrett to bring his hillbilly Tennessee ass to the ring so Buff can shove his foot up it. And to his credit, Jarrett does come right out and they have a good old man fight. Then Lex Luger comes out and tries to take out Jarrett with the guitar, but ends up attacking Bagwell by mistake. And Luger did not give one fuck about accidentally hitting Bagwell.
Didn't check on him whatsoever.
Didn't even look at him.
It was just like, oops.
Then we had some backstage shit. Psycho Sid is getting stitches. Mike Tenay is about to do some sort of interview or monologue or something, but then Sid flips out and repeatedly screams, "Let it bleed," which is a great strategy. Eddie Guerrero's then crumpled up in pain on some stairs. He's making a phone call. Turns out he's calling Rey Mysterio Jr., who I think is at the hospital with Conan. Eddie tells Rey to get his ass back to the ring because they need filthy animal business. Yeah. Brad Armstrong versus Berlin. Judging from Armstrong's Dollar Store USA sweatshirt, it looks like this is going to be America versus Germany. And sure enough, Berlin apparently hates all American wrestlers. And Armstrong is as American as apple pie, despite being a filthy animal the last time we saw him.
Was he? I didn't know who the hell this guy was.
Yeah, he was with the filthy animals against the West Texas Rednecks.
Yeah, didn't know him one bit. Maybe it's just because he was wearing something different.
He did look a little bit more legit. Not legit. He looked like a 90s MMA fighter instead of a wrestler. It's weird. So Berlin kicks Armstrong's ass the entire match. And then Berlin goes for a neck breaker, which is his finishing move, apparently. Armstrong blocks it and then pins Berlin. After the match, Berlin kicks Armstrong's ass. I watched this match and I just wanted to buzz cut Alex Wright's hair.
You didn't like it?
Nope.
Maybe he's lost already. But yeah, I was surprised that he already lost to this guy. Apparently, this guy's really in wrestling, so no surprise that he lost.
Well,
it's weird that I just didn't recognize him.
It is weird. We had a Ric Flair interview. Tenay says Flair looks like a man possessed. Well, Flair said last week the filthy animals thought they were ready for the main event. Tonight, he slapped their mediocre asses back down to reality. And if any of them have a problem with that, he'll be here all night. And Flair says, "Come find me." As far as DDP and the strap match goes, 2 of the very best will be strapped together. Flair says last week he spanked DDP's wife. She looked at Flair and said, "Woo, nature boy, nature boy, nature boy." I've never been spanked like that. You were right. I should have got that spanking woo from my daddy a long time ago. And Flair goes on to say Kimberly went, "Woo, nature boy. Woo, Space Mountain." She said it. I heard it.
That was the funniest part. She said it. I heard her. Like, I know you don't believe me, but I heard it.
And then he said Tori got to taste some of Flair too. And Flair then says he's fucking Kimberly after beating Paige tonight. So for Chris Benoit versus Rick Steiner, it's for the WCW World Television Championship. Steiner tossed Benoit around a lot. Benoit fought back. Steiner kicked him in the balls. And then they tried to tell a story where Steiner was just targeting Benoit's dick the rest of the match. He slammed him on the turnbuckle. Well, you know what that move does? Stretches your groin. Much like the Saturn match last pay-per-view, it's getting really embarrassing for Benoit. Steiner drops Benoit on his head and just laughs about it. But then Benoit tries one last offensive fury, but the ref gets taken out. So Steiner goes to grab a chair. Benoit sidesteps the chair and punches it right into Steiner's face. Steiner falls to the mat with the chair lying over him. Benoit goes for the diving headbutt, and as Benoit's falling, Steiner just throws it right in his face. Then Dean Malenko comes out and grabs the chair. And he teases Kraken Steiner with it, but ultimately he turns on his good old buddy Chris Benoit. Malenko rolls the referee back in the ring, who's still down, and then Steiner makes the cover and becomes the new World Television Champion. Perry Saturn was there, still looking ridiculous. He and Malenko hug. Apparently the revolution continues or whatever. Malenko started to say something into the camera, but it was immediately cut off.
Yeah.
So their friendship of 15 years is just done.
Through the Horsemen, through everything.
All for Shane Douglas and Saturn, who was not there. Shane Douglas, that is.
Nope, couldn't show up to work.
We got a Bret Hart interview. He's feuding with Lex Luger, who recently attacked Hart with a baseball bat and cost him the world title match. So Hart is coming into the match hurt, and he's wrestling against doctor's orders. Hart said he's wrestled Hurt before. He's also wrestled Lex Luger before. So as long as the fans are behind him, that's all that matters. And he says Luger will be excellently executed.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Lex Luger versus Bret Hart. Luger has an epic entrance now. I wouldn't be surprised if it inspired Chris Masters.
It may have. I was trying to think if this was before or after his WWE run, because it kind of gave me Narcissist vibes.
Are you talking about Luger?
Yeah.
This is well after his WWE run.
Okay.
The whole Nitro thing that began with Luger jumping ship from WWF.
Well, you got to imagine it's hard to kind of keep up with the timelines here, just because how we're watching it. So I may be off on timings, but yeah, it kind of felt like it was inspired a little bit by the Narcissist.
Yeah.
Especially with him posing and he's like showing off all his striations. And
well, that's really all he's been. Just have a good body. The Narcissist, the total package. Just flexes.
Lifting guy.
Yeah.
What was it? Some kind of bodybuilding thing? Remember he did that like satellite interview with WWE?
Was it the World Bodybuilding Federation or some shit?
Yeah, that thing.
That's right. Yeah. So that's all he knows. So the match starts and Hart just kicks Luger's ass. Then they tumble out of the floor and Bret tweaks his fucked up leg. And that's pretty much all she wrote for Bret. Luger targets the leg and then he ends up getting Bret in a half Boston Crab and Bret taps out. And that's it.
Yep. Now, they continued the story for Monday because as they showed us on the video package, he attacked Hart's ankle on Monday. So they told a story here about it. So that's good.
They did. Goldberg had an interview. Tenay wants to know if Goldberg thinks his actions made Psycho Sid more dangerous tonight. And Bill points to Sid's blood stain on the floor and says, nope.
It's funny that they were conveniently standing right by the spot where that blood was still there.
It's funny that they didn't even try to clean it up.
Like, there's a piece of his skull right there. You think?
Medusa comes out. Apparently she's modeling for WCW's Cologne. And she's in a tiny bikini wearing pigtails. She goes straight to the commentary team and acts horribly. The way her dialogue's written, we're supposed to think she's talking about her tits, but it was just awkward and bad. Medusa then talks about the two writers from New York and the fact that she has to model for the Cologne. And then she said that's bullshit. And for no reason at all, she dumps the entire bottle on Heenan. And I'm thinking nothing would have been lost if we never saw this.
Well, I was thinking she threw the women's champion in the trash. And look at her now. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. Now you're reduced to pumping some kind of cologne. I think she did it on Heenan because he was talking about how bad it was. But Shivani was also saying how bad it was too.
Well, before this, she was wrestling Luna Vachon and Bull Nakano and shit.
Yes. And then she got those knockers, and then her career went downhill.
She looks like Harley Quinn's mom.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, she retired. Like, she had that retirement match. I forgot.
Oh yeah. So
Sonny
she's
Ono and,
back.
yeah.
Well, up next we have Hulk Hogan versus Sting. It's for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. There was a hype video before. Hogan said that he's going to train, say a prayer, and then kick Sting's ass. Sting says, "It's showtime, folks." So basically the same shit said before their last match. So we get to the match. Hogan's music plays, and it just keeps playing. Commentary's confused. They speculate that Hogan's insisting on coming out last, but Hogan's music keeps playing. Eventually, it just switches to Sting's music. Heenan and I had the same idea about Sting refusing to come out too. He's like, well, Sting's not going to come out now too. So Sting comes out, and then they play Hogan's music again. And again, Hogan doesn't come out immediately. When Hogan finally does come out, he's wearing street clothes. Then he gets to the ring, says a few things to Sting, and then just lays right down on the mat. Sting pins Hogan, and they start playing Psycho Sid and Goldberg's hype video.
Yep. So I did do some research on this. It was supposed to be that way. I don't know how accurate the internet was, 'cause I did do some deep diving. But apparently, yes, this was Vince's Russo's idea to do a worked shoot. And this was supposed to lead to Hulk Hogan forming some group. But I guess they dropped that. But yes, this was actually the plan. Because at first I was getting this wasn't the plan. And Hogan,
Just came out and laid down.
well, the initial thing that I found was that Hogan came out and laid down because he had just lost to Sting. Like, the idea was him to lose clean to Sting, but he didn't want to, so he just came out there and laid down. But
Oh, yeah,
then,
that's good to have in a wrestling storyline.
yeah, but then through more digging, this was a worked shoot. So Mr. Russo is trying to.
How does that work? I don't want to lose clean to him, so I went ahead and just laid down. So that's like saying all the matches that you've had before, you agreed to lose clean,
Well, he didn't want to lose clean twice in a row.
and then that means the matches that you did win, those were agreed. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, he didn't lose clean last time.
I don't know. He lost.
He did, but
And the matches that he won clean, that means somebody had to agree to win clean beforehand.
well, thinking back, I don't think he's ever lost clean. At least in WCW here.
He lost to Luger clean. I think he lost to Giant clean.
Well, I guess he kind of lost to Goldberg clean too.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
selective.
We get a Psycho Sid Goldberg hype video, speaking of the devil. Well, we said this is what they were building up to, and they sure did. The video itself was just a reiteration from earlier. Goldberg and Sid are scheduled to fight. Goldberg can't lay hands on Sid, but does anyway. And Sid says Goldberg's opportunity should be stripped because he breached the stipulation of the contract. And Sid rips up the contract. Goldberg comes out and beats the shit out of Sid's lawyers. Sid ends up kicking Goldberg in the face, dropping him with a powerbomb. And then Sid stuffs the ripped up contract in Goldberg's mouth and says, "See you at Havoc." So that sent mixed signals for me. Either way, we have Psycho Sid versus Goldberg for the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship. Sid gets in the ring, starts pacing like a caged tiger, and he's got that little red spot on his forehead where he's bleeding. But Heenan said he had like 14 stitches or some shit.
Yeah, something like that.
Goldberg does his long ass entrance. Takes so long, I'm starting to wonder if he's getting paid by the hour. Eventually, he does make his way out to the ring, and the outsiders jump him. I guess Nash is unretired. So Sid jumps Goldberg, but that doesn't matter because Goldberg just kicks Sid's ass until the ref has to stop the match due to blood. This was not an intense back and forth where neither man refused to quit and the ref had to step in. This was Goldberg simply beating Sid's ass. Rick Steiner came out to carry Sid out because Sid wanted to go back to fight again, but Rick's like, no. And yeah, they tried to play Sid up as the tough guy, and all he did was just get his ass kicked all night. And he wanted to go back for more. Also, there's not a whole lot of range to Bill Goldberg.
What do you mean? He beat the shit out of Sid.
That's it. That's all he can do. I mean, this wasn't like an epic clash of the Titans. This was just Goldberg kicking Sid's ass.
My favorite part is Sid, they're helping him to the back, and then he turns around like he wants to get some more. And Goldberg's like, come on. Like, I've beat your ass all night. My blood thirst is not quenched. Come on.
Yeah, very weird.
Yeah. And I do see what they were kind of trying to go for, but yeah, him
Do
just
you?
getting his ass beat. Yeah, they're trying to make him like this monster or whatever, this super tough guy because he got his ass beat and he was still fighting through it.
No, he wasn't fighting. He was just taking.
No, I mean fighting through it as in like still going on with the match, and I don't know.
Well, it jumps
Yeah,
to
he didn't even get a jackhammer. He got his ass beat so bad.
yeah. I don't know. Just didn't work for me. It wasn't like Kane versus Undertaker. That was a clash of titans.
Yeah.
So it jumps to a video. Kimberly's walking into a hotel room. This is presumably David Flair's hotel room. She reveals that she was wearing something skimpy, and she pours 2 glasses of champagne. She then goes to retrieve a bottle of pills from her purse. "This'll knock him out," she says. But before she can do anything,
Out loud.
yeah, yes. Ric Flair emerges from the bathroom. David Flair couldn't make it, but Space Mountain could, says Ric Flair. And then he says Kimberly is going to get the 14 times spanking. And all I can think is that DDP is a fucking liar. Because he said that Kimberly invited David Flair to her room. That was clearly not her hotel room.
It may have been. She retrieved the pills that she never used and never like revisited it at all.
She was walking in wearing a coat.
But then, yeah, you're right. Well, that was my takeaway from it, though. The fact that those pills were never used and never really retouched on.
No.
And to my surprise, this was a replay of what happened that night. So I didn't know what the hell was going on. Maybe I missed it, but there was no segue to like, let's show you what happened.
I think there was.
Oh, maybe I missed it then. Because for me, it just like they were doing the Goldberg thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just jumped straight to her walking into this hotel room.
So are we to believe that Flair just banged Kimberly?
Because she didn't get the pills?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about bang, but I guess he spanked her.
Definitely. That's been confirmed.
Yeah.
Sting comes out to the ring and he says he didn't come to Vegas for a night off.
Sorry, I was just thinking about it. Like, I guess we are supposed to believe that he banged her to put on this charade or whatever this ruse her and Paige are trying to pull off. Because she didn't get the pills out. Now she just had to get
yeah, that was it. Or did she say no and he just, didn't stop? Like, well, you're here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Space Mountain don't take no for an answer. Sting comes out to the ring. He says, I didn't come to Vegas for a night off. I came to Vegas for a fight. So if anyone in the back can hear what the Stinger is saying, I'm saying I came to Vegas for a fight. He says he'll be back later to see if anyone wants to show up for the fight. And then he killed this amazing promo by closing it with, it's showtime, folks.
Yep, I had to get that in there again.
Killed it. Like, oh man, I'm with you, Stinger. It's showtime, folks. He has no friends at this point. So we have DDP and Ric Flair, their strap match. We learned that as DDP is making his way to the ring, this isn't going to be an actual strap match. DDP and Flair will just be strapped together while they have a normal match. Genius. So this one took a while to start. Then they almost immediately went into the crowd to fight. Then they went backstage. Flair sees Kimberly. He can't help himself. Just starts forcing himself on her. They fight to the crowd. They fight to another segment of the crowd. Then they go back ringside. Kimberly's standing there. Rick just stops everything. And he just immediately goes to put his mouth on Kimberly. Flair gets busted open. DDP whips Flair on top of the announce desk with the strap, taking out commentary for a while. They get back in the ring. Flair locks in the figure four while the strap is wrapped around DDP's neck. Fortunately for Paige, rope breaks are allowed. Ref, of course, had no issue with Flair strangling Paige with the strap, but, the rope break.
What is a
Uh,
strap match in its way?
DDP punches Flair in the balls, chokes him with the strap, and then hits the diamond cutter for the win. A weird thing with the pin where the ref like fucked up the 3 count, but rang the bell anyway. Like he did the 1, 2, and it looked like he stopped, like he was expecting Flair to kick out. And Paige looked at him and like, what the fuck are you doing? So Paige hits the ref with a diamond cutter, goes back to strangling Flair. David Flair comes out to help with a crowbar, but he stopped when Kimberly knees him in the balls. Kimberly slides the crowbar to DDP, who then proceeds to strike Flair in the balls with it. Felt really bad for Flair.
Yeah, this was brutal.
Then DDP kicks David Flair's ass for good measure, and he hits him with 2 diamond cutters and a nut shot. Flair stretchered out, and they say David was sobbing, which I don't know about that, but the ref sure was. And then Flair's being taken out in an ambulance on a stretcher. And then the filthy animals attack Flair and kidnap him in the ambulance. Tori Wilson filmed the whole thing, which keep that in mind, kids. Always film your crimes.
Yeah, not a good night for Flair. I didn't find anything on the count issue.
Look at you being all researchy.
Yeah. Thought we'd throw some of that stuff in there
Yeah.
in the retros.
Appreciated. No, I honestly just thought he fucked it up. And then Paige had a diamond cut him.
Yeah, because he did kind of no sell the diamond cutter. By the way, David Flair took one of the worst diamond cutters. He had to get a second one. It was so bad.
Yeah.
It was like Linda McMahon taking a stunner bad.
Oh, yeah. It was pretty bad. David Flair is just useless, isn't he?
I mean, I think he got better, but
when?
I don't know. But yeah, he didn't take that one good.
Well, after that, Sting comes back out, and he grabs the mic, and he's like, well, so out comes Bill Goldberg. I guess he recovered from beating Sid's ass. Shivani initially says this is a title match, but has to quickly take that back. So we have Sting versus Goldberg, just a match. Commentary team reiterated that this isn't for the title. The champion has to agree to the matches beforehand and sign contracts and shit. Non-title match. So Sting and Goldberg make their entrances, then have to fucking wait for a referee, even though Sting announced it beforehand. They didn't plan ahead. Commentary team says, well, it's definitely not going to be Charles Robinson. So Charles Robinson comes out. And then Goldberg just, of course, starts kicking Sting's ass until he misses a punch and hits the steel ring post instead. Sting hits a top rope splash and spears Goldberg. And then Goldberg no-sells the spear, levels Sting with a spin kick, misses a tackle in the corner, so Sting hits 3 stinger splashes. Sting whips Goldberg into the ropes. And then Goldberg recovers as he's running. He hits a spear, then the jackhammer. 1, 2, 3. Then they declare Goldberg as the new fucking world heavyweight champion. Sting gets up and starts complaining to the ref. I said I was here for a fight. I didn't say anything about the belt. Charles Robinson says that match was for the belt anyway. And then it sounded like he said, you got a problem, boy? And then starts walking away from Sting. So then Sting hits Robinson with the Scorpion Death Drop. And that's the end of the pay-per-view.
Yep. Convoluted.
Yes. I don't like when there's more questions than answers. Like, it doesn't make me want to watch. It just makes me confused.
Yeah. And I guess that's what they were going for.
But that was Halloween Havoc. I don't know what to make of it. It just seemed like a whole bunch of shit happened. And I think they built up Sid for nothing.
To feed him to Goldberg.
Exactly. Like, where does Sid go from here?
I don't know. Yeah, they made him the Millennial Man and all this undefeated streak. Now, they did say on commentary that he never got pinned or submitted. He just got his ass beat so bad he couldn't continue.
Oh, yeah, that's better.
So, you know, he can still say he's undefeated. I don't know.
Well, the following night on Nitro, Sting declared that he never agreed to defend the title and called J.J. Dillon to the ring to explain. Dillon announced that the title was being vacated due to Sting's attack on the referee, Charles Robinson, during the unsanctioned match. Therefore, he announced a tournament for the vacant title to conclude at the following month's Mayhem pay-per-view event. This could be the next one. Later that night, Goldberg defended his U.S. title against Bret Hart and lost after Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Psycho Sid attacked Goldberg and cost him the title. Fortunately, there was 3 people to help Bret Hart win. So yes, they kept referencing the powers that be, the new writers, specifically from New York. So I looked up the powers that be. That refers to a specific chaotic WCW storyline written by none other than Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara. So we are here.
Yep, we are officially in the Vince Russo era.
I don't know. I can't say this was bad. I can't say it was good. It was better than modern shit by far.
Yeah, like I said, it just felt to me it felt like it was a Nitro. I'm not saying like the quality or anything. I'm just saying like the fact that there were all these fuck finishes, all these cut to backstage stuff's happening backstage, like the Goldberg beatdown, the filthy animals stuff. It just felt like a Nitro, a TV show,
Yeah, fair
as
enough.
opposed to a pay per view. Because usually pay per views you have clean finishes, or maybe you have some kind of DQ or something here or there, but I don't know. Usually pay per views are payoffs, but this was like a lot of story.
Yeah, maybe there's a bigger picture here. Maybe we just need to let it play out. We'll see what happens. He doesn't have a lot of time though, so there is that.
Yeah.
But yeah, our next WCW pay per view is Mayhem. That's in Toronto, Canada. The main event is Bret Hart versus Chris Benoit for the vacant World Heavyweight title. So if anything, that should be awesome.
And kind of tells me the winner, but that's okay.
But before that, we have ECW's Heatwave, 1998. This is the fifth Heatwave event produced by ECW. And it took place in Dayton, Ohio. This was the first edition of Heatwave to be broadcast on pay-per-view. Also featured talent from Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling due to a partnership between ECW and FMW. 6 professional wrestling matches were contested. The main event was a street fight. It's Tommy Dreamer, the Sandman, and Spike Dudley versus the Dudleys, Bubba Ray Devon, and Big Dick Dudley. Other matches were Taz faces Bam Bam Bigelow for the FTW Heavyweight Championship. This is a Falls Count Anywhere match. We have Masato Tanaka versus Mike Awesome. You should like
He's
that.
here.
We have FMW's Ace Hayabusa. It's his first and only major wrestling appearance in the United States. He teamed with Jinsei Shinzaki, and they took on Rob Van Dam and Sabu for the World Tag Team titles. We had Just Incredible versus Jerry Lynn, and then finally Chris Candido versus Lance Storm.
Finally getting that blow off.
Yeah, well, it makes sense since they're not the tag champions anymore.
There you go.